Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right,
Good
the way it
Lord.
works, our hosts bring you hot topics they want to share. We'll ask, is this truth, lies, or shenanigans? And our panel will talk about it for a bit until time is up. And then we'll go to our audience for comments and questions. So make sure you're commenting in any of our comment threads. We are listening to you. So, Rob B. Rock, you wanted to tackle abortion and the death penalty. Is this truth, lies,
Ooh,
or is this
child.
shenanigans?
Nah, this is truth with a whole lot of shenanigans. So yeah, this Tuesday, Republican member of the Texas House of Representatives, Brian Lee Slayton, introduced an anti-abortion bill that would criminalize the act of having or performing an abortion, making it punishable by charges that could carry the death penalty. So the bill seeks to direct the state attorney general to enforce penalty charges for assaultive offenses and criminal homicide if an abortion is performed, regardless of any contrary federal statute, regulation, treaty, order, or court decision. So the tweet, as it was sent out, was today I filed the article number, to abolish abortion in Texas. The bill will end the discriminatory practice of terminating the life of innocent children and will guarantee the equal protection of the laws to all Texans, no matter how small. So I should note that Mr. Slayton is also a pastor. And on March 11th, so a couple of days after he posted that tweet, he also posted another one saying that the immigration crisis at our southern border must be stopped. That's why I filled legislation to finish Trump's wall on the southern border. The federal government under Biden is failing to protect our border, so we must stand in the gap. Just sharing this one as additional context to present the political mindset of this individual. So I'm looking
What would Jesus
for
do? What
reaction.
would Jesus do?
Well, he'd build a wall and. So my question to my fellow panelists is, why do so many men in religious and political offices feel so strongly about women should be doing with their bodies? And Neo, I know that this really struck a chord with you and you were kind of chomping at the bit. So let's sound off, buddy. I want to hear this.
Yeah, I mean, this topic in general kind of really pisses me off because this is not about pro-life. That's bullshit, right? Because this is absolutely about control, right? You don't claim to be protecting one life and then make it a penalty to take another life. That's two lives lost. I mean, that's freaking hypocritical. I mean, it's straight off. So here's what's happening. The right is trying to get the Trump Supreme Court to overturn Roe versus Wade, which allowed abortion in the U.S. You got Arkansas already just passed a damn near total anti-abortion bill law, even in the case of rape and incest. And Iowa's close to passing another law outlawing it past the point of a heartbeat, right? And honestly, I get it. I do. I know what it's like to see that heartbeat and plan your whole, plan in your head the whole lifetime of, a child, and then all of a sudden that life is just gone. So I personally describe myself as anti-abortion because, there's so many other options out there for prophylaxis. I mean, so I would certainly be one to advocate to try to influence not aborting a child. That's me, right? But I'm also pro-choice because no matter how I feel about it, no one has the right to tell me or anyone else what to do with their bodies. For example, if my wife and I get pregnant and we choose to abort for whatever reason, it could be any number of reasons that we choose to do that, you can try to tell me what you think I should and shouldn't do, right? And I can choose to listen or not listen to what you're saying. But you forcing me to do anything or telling me you're going to kill me if I don't do what you say, nah, that's not cool. That is not cool at all. I got more to say, but I want to give my host some time.
I
So,
definitely want to hear from the ladies.
yeah.
Definitely want to hear from the ladies. Liz, I'm loving that smirk right now. So go for it.
It's Sunday, so I'm going to try to, even though I don't necessarily believe in Christianity and the Sabbath. I do respect those that do. But I do say this: stay out of my womb, stay out of my uterus. It's none of your business as a government, as a male who has no connection to me and what is going on with my body and my pregnancy and how I got to this point, what I do with my child, what I do with a child I may be carrying. And I think there's this, idea, this false narrative that people, the majority of women who get abortions, are using it as a form of birth control, which couldn't be farther from the truth. There are a lot of stories behind why people get abortions. And as someone who doesn't know you, it's none, like Neo said, it's none of my business. I respect your opinion. And I got to tell you, if I were in a situation where I was raped or where I was in a medical condition where either my life or the life of the child, or the condition of the child could be in jeopardy, or to be honest with you, I just don't want to be pregnant. I don't want to carry a child to term. That is my right. It's my body. The government does not have control over what comes in and out of my body. So again, stay out of my womb, stay out of my uterus. And I think it's very hypocritical of a lot of these Christians, a lot of these Republicans, like Neo alluded to, that they are against abortion, but they're so quick to put a needle in someone's arms and put them on death row and kill them. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yanni, let's hear it.
Yeah. Is it possible to be like pro-choice and pro-life? Because I think nobody wants,
course.
Yeah,
babies
that's what I describe myself as.
yeah, like both. But I do think that it's like a fine line with like pro-choice is just anybody should have the choice to do whatever they want with their body. I think that, like, alluding to what Lizzie said about there are many reasons as to why people abort besides rape, incest, and like having a life-threatening illness that you can't even have pregnancy. So there are many reasons why. I think we should shift our focus as to the reason why. Because if they did say if all of the United States was like, no anti-abortion, no abortion, you'll be put to death if you try. Then there will be other alternatives to abortions for the women that are experiencing it. Because I think the issue is bigger than this, like, law. Like, it's not like an abuse of the system, so to speak. Like, we're not, like, women aren't just getting abortions for like birth control, like Lizzie said. You know what I mean? So there's reason.
Or because it's trending. Like, people aren't getting abortions because it's trending, because it's the cool thing to do.
It's a tough
and it's a
decision
very
to make. It is
it's a very traumatic decision to make.
Yes. And
It's a
people
very
deal with
traumatic.
those
Like,
decisions afterwards. It's not an easy thing
I
to
know
do.
people who have had abortions in some of those trying circumstances, and as they were going through that, I did not judge. I did not judge. I know, I have friends who had abortions early in the pregnancy. I've had friends who have had a friend who had a late term abortion. And I remember seeing her like maybe 2 months after, and she was broken. Like, her spirit was broken. This wasn't something that she wanted to do,
Not a simple decision.
but it was her decision. It needed to be done based on her circumstance. And, for a party, the Republican Party, that is so about small government, they don't want any government control. They sure want to throw out a lot of rules to people, especially women, especially what we want to do with our bodies. They are the biggest hypocrites on the planet. And now you would want to kill people, as if y'all aren't killing enough people already in Texas who have all of these people on death row. Like, come on, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And I think that whether it was a man or a woman or a hermaphrodite, like, I think whoever needs to, like, actually they need to go into the field, they need to do the field work, ask people or survey or some type of scientific research as to why people are, the main reason why people are getting abortions. Because they said that it was a spike in Texas or something. That's why they're doing that. But so what is the reason why these people are getting abortions? Like, we need to figure that out so that we can narrow that down and that.
If there's a spike in Texas, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. What's happening is we've been in a pandemic for over a year. So what are people doing at home?
Oh,
It's,
and
it's
then we're
very
still, a lot of people
straightforward.
are still broke. Yeah.
And if you look at the demographics, when you start looking at abortion numbers, unfortunately, lower income is one of those demographics. And I got to thinking about that earlier today. And if you can't afford to give birth to a child in a hospital, if you can't afford to raise this child, but you can afford a small fraction for the abortion costs, it is a personal decision, absolutely, but there's a lot of mitigating factors that can be at play, not to mention that we've got approximately 4 billion too many hairless apes on the planet as it stands.
Apes.
But no, Rob Reed brings up a good point. Rob Reed brings up a good point because none of these politicians want anything to do with these kids that aren't being aborted. These kids that, are born into homes that are low income, where nobody has the money to provide for them, where no one wants them, where no one has the psychological wherewithal to take care of them. It's like, okay, have the baby and then you're on your own. And then that's why we see so many abused children, so many children that are caught up in the CPS, Child Protective Services. Like, they just want you to have all these babies and then keep it moving. It's like, no.
This is not about
I always challenge the protesters, and that is absolutely the challenge, where I will ask pro-lifers or people who support pro-life legislation, how many children have you adopted? Does your right to life stop at birth? What about the quality of life down the road? Because we don't want children abandoned by their parents. We don't want children abandoned to the system. We don't want children to be a burden to the system or the responsibility of the system. We want active, happy families. That's what leads to a happy, productive individual down the road. And that's always my challenge. How many children have you adopted? If you're willing to stand out here and sacrifice your time to peddle this message, what have you personally done? And I would have to say 70% of the time the response is none. I have not adopted any children. I can have kids on my own. Well, do your part, man.
Well, like I was saying, so pro-life is bullshit. The argument of pro-life that they use is absolute bullshit. If they put as much time and money and effort into education and the programs that you guys were mentioning, they would actually accomplish their stated goals of pro-life better than trying to come up with these laws that tells you that you're going to kill people and all this. It tells you that it makes no sense. So that's why I'm saying pro-life is bullshit. It's all about control. It's all about
nobody wants to do that.
Men who have no power in the situation. They want that power. Men can't decide to have children or not have children. So they have to try to control the means.
Yeah, they can. Wrap your shit up.
No,
wrap your shit
up. You can control not to have kids, but you can't control to have kids.
But when it's too late, like you're saying,
I can't control whether or not. If I want to have a kid right now, I can't just say, I can't put a kid in myself. If I had the option, I'd put a kid right in myself right now, and I'd have a kid. A woman can go to a sperm bank, pop some sperm, and because they have a uterus and they have eggs.
Hold up. But on the flip side of that, a man can hire someone to have a baby for them.
They could.
Yeah, so a man
if they have the money for it.
But you have to be qualified.
You have to have money
to be able to.
Yeah,
you have to be qualified.
These men are trying to create situations. These men are trying to create.
Wait. If this were a man, if this was a situation where men were able to reproduce, were able to have children, given the high quantity in which men stick their shit into holes, do you really think we would be having this discussion?
Oh
because
God, no.
because a man can produce a child at a more rapid pace than a woman can birth a child.
That's
So
true.
if the tables were turned, this would not even be a discussion.
A discussion.
It would be
That's
like,
very
oh
true.
yeah, abort that baby. Nah.
I'm telling you,
There was,
this is
that's
this is
very
about
true.
men who
That's
want to
true.
control women's uterus
I
because
agree
they
with you.
have no
Yeah.
means to.
I
They
agree
don't
with
have
you.
the means to make a child without it. You can't make them in a a laboratory. You can't do any. Women have a means to make children that men have no control over. Yeah, there's a lot of men that just pop children out. Where what I'm talking about is the men that want to control the ability to have children. That's what this is about. It's all about control and
But even to your
I mean,
point, though,
just
a woman can't. I mean, even to your extent, to scientifically your point, a woman can't either. Like she still needs a man's sperm.
yeah. I mean, but you
A
can
man
a
still
Exactly.
has.
woman. I'm telling you, you can find a
A
horny
man
man
still
off the
has.
street. A woman can find a horny
Exactly.
man off the street.
And
A
vice
man can't
versa.
find a horny woman off the street
Ew.
as easily
No,
that'll hold a
but
baby
no.
for 9
Look,
months.
look at all.
That's true.
Look at all of the homosexual male couples who either have adopted children or who have had surrogate children. They're placing their sperm into somebody. So yes,
It's
they
not saying it's
can
not
make that.
possible. I'm just talking about likelihood. It's a
It's
lot
not as
easier
like
for
common.
women.
That they
Mhm.
have the ability to make that choice. At the end of the day, regardless of if you continue with Roe versus Wade as a law or not, abortions are not going to stop.
And that's
We're going
another
to go
good point.
back to
That's another
That's
point
what
we
I'm
didn't
saying.
mention.
in
Yep.
the alley. We're
That's
going to
another
go
point we
back
didn't
to
mention.
Alternative.
black market abortions.
People
So
are
at
going to make
least
those
have it
decisions.
legal and safe. At least have it legal and safe.
I'm sure they can probably YouTube how to do abortions now, and that'll just start
I,
happening.
Oh my
So
goodness.
you ain't saying
Please don't do
the
that,
truth.
anybody.
don't do it.
YouTube,
Yes,
Never
don't
do
do
TikTok,
it.
all of it.
Please don't do
We
that.
do. I mean, what did we
Thank you
have
for
2 weeks
disclaimer,
ago?
Gianni.
We just had the show about the what was it? It was the veterinarian, the fake veterinarian who was on TikTok
Yeah.
filming how to how to have a was it a
A
dog or a cat?
C-section.
It was a
Yeah, it
dog.
was a dog, a French
The
bulldog.
dog have a C-section. Like Neo said, it's gonna be on YouTube.
I mean,
It's gonna abortion 101. It's gonna be on YouTube.
they're going to have to
It's
outlaw
ridiculous.
that and try to control all of that. It's just going to be, I mean, yeah, they need to. They need to give it up. They're never gonna. They never should be able to control another person's decision. It's their choices. I did. There was a comment that Olivia mentioned that I do want to kind of cover. Let me try to see if I can get back to it. Hold on. Okay, I am not anti-abortion, but when it's a fetus, but late-term abortions when it's a human is murder. We can't just go around killing people just because. Science says it's a child at a certain stage in pregnancy. What do you guys think about that?
And my counter to that is you don't know the circumstance of that
I
late
agree
term
with
abortion.
that. You cannot.
You don't know what's going on with that particular situation. So, yeah.
There should be. I think there should be deterrence towards abortion because personally, I don't like abortion as an option, but I understand the necessity of abortion as an option. So, and I understand that it's not my choice to make as to whether or not someone does that. But with that being said, I like it to be. I like there to be more education. I like there to be more options, more clarity. I mean, I think I would like to see all this effort into helping people in difficult situations make solid, good decisions. Because I've known some people who've gone to abortion and felt it was a bad decision because they didn't feel they understood what they were doing. So I would like to see more of that. Help people. Don't try to penalize people for making already difficult decisions.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where people try to demonize Planned Parenthood because Planned Parenthood isn't, the one-stop shop where you just go and get an abortion. There's a lot of education. One, Planned Parenthood does a lot more than abortions. But if you go to Planned Parenthood seeking abortions, they do give you a lot of history, a lot of background. They let you know what this procedure is, what it's about, and what your options are. And they give you the opportunity to think on it. And I think most abortion clinics do that. Like, again, these are medical professionals. This isn't a religion where they're trying to sway you one way back or forth. They're giving you the options. This is what happens. This is what you're in store for. This mentally, this is what you may go through. And I think a lot of that information is not played up enough. We just think, oh, abortion clinics, they are just, recruiting people to come in. Let's suck your baby out. No, that's not how it works.
Get out of these women's uteruses, people. All right, let's get to these comments.
Unless I invite you in.
That's right.
Get out.
All right. Mike Wolfe says, if you want the best deterrent to abortion, provide free birth control and good sex education. Yes, thank you, sir.
Yep.
Hello.
He also says the
Hello.
misconception about late-term abortions is that it's a woman who, after suffering through the effects of pregnancy for 8.5 months, just changes her mind on a whim. Just about 100% of the late-term abortions are for serious medical conditions. Either a mother's life is in grave danger or the child has severe defects and no chance of survival. That is very accurate. It's a very big misconception that women don't sit up there at 8 months pregnant saying, oh, you know what? I made a bad decision. That just doesn't happen.
No.
That doesn't happen.
You know, all the hormones and the bond, like the pregnancy bond is a real thing. I've never been pregnant, but I'm saying like the pregnancy bond is a real thing. So I think by that time.
And it's a medical risk. Late-term abortions are a medical risk to the woman as well.
Yeah, they are. Yep. They are dangerous to the woman. Draria Winter says, choice is what we have. We have to understand the nature of choice. Free will enables us to make choices. Growth comes in the choices we make. Jose says, at the end of the day, it's the choice of the person that is carrying the child. No one else, unless the parent wants someone to have a say in it. But it's no one else's business. Let's see, George Fournier, very difficult decision to make. The decision impacts the woman and the man regardless of the decision. Ephraim, my father says, what is the scientific difference between born and unborn child?
Ooh, that's a whole other conversation.
That is a whole other conversation.
Born and unborn, that one's straightforward. Born is the one that's out of the fetus, and unborn is the one that's still inside the fetus.
Oh, he did say the scientific.
But he said the scientific difference, though. I mean,
but
that is kind of the scientific, right?
That's scientific. That's scientific.
That's not like the spiritual version.
How about Jeanette Brown says, how about the anti-abortion men take responsibility for birth control? Women are responsible for not getting pregnant and getting pregnant and not for getting raped. And that's the other thing about the rape and incest thing.
Yeah, the rape and incest one is.
That's just men saying, hey, I want to be able to, I want to be able to put holes in the condom and force you to still have my child. Or I want to be able to rape you and you still have to have my child. Or, do something with my child and then that child still has to have a baby. I mean, those are men trying to control the situation. It's another form of control.
Yeah. If I put a baby in that, that's mine. No.
That's not how it works. I mean, I don't know what era we're trying to live in, but that era is long gone. All right.
What are you talking about? We trying to make America great again. We trying to make America great again.
They were trying to. It is, we making America great.
Again.
We're just gonna make America great because I don't know that we've been the best
ever there. Officially,
we still got some ways to go.
It was great the day I was born. I don't know about anything outside. 74, it was fabulous. Everything else.
We spent a lot of time on this topic. It was an important topic to cover, though. But let's get to the next one. Thank you, Robbie.
Thank you, Rob.
No, thank you. That was a good discussion.